Hello, good evening. Welcome to the first of the two June Historic Preservation Commission meetings. It is June 4th, 6:48 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And first, I'll let people know that pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted by remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. And let me just get my screen back. As is our custom here, we do our introductions. So I'm going across my screen. We'll start off with Ms. Price.
Hello, my name is Denise Price, and I live in a historic building in Union Square.
Again, Vice Chair Kelly.
Hi, I am the Realtor member of the commission and also a historic homeowner in Union Square.
Mr. Shagnon.
I'm DJ Shagnon. I'm the landscape architect on the commission and a resident of Ward 5.
Thank you. And I'm Eric Parks, Ward 3 historic homeowner and an architect. And we have staff with us, Ms. Checkwich.
Hi, I'm Wendy Checkwitz, Preservation Planner for the Preservation Division and for overall planning, preservation, and zoning.
And we do have Ms. White here.
Yes, hi, I'm Sarah White. I am a senior planner with the Planning, Preservation, and Zoning Division. And like Wendy, I work in both preservation and in zoning.
Thank you all. Okay, and we have a fairly light agenda tonight. Let me just pull this back again. The first item on our list is a memorandum of agreement for 236/238 Lowell Street. And this is to read the MOA. And is the applicant here for this tonight?
One second, Chair, while I pull up.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, through you, I'm so sorry. I muted myself. Yes, we do have the applicant is here for this. The architect is here, and actually the two applicants are here as well. Normally what I believe we do for this is we have a discussion amongst staff and the commission, and then if you have questions for the applicant, they are more than happy to join in and answer any of those. But I'm here to answer any questions you might have first.
So it's not a presentation, it's more of a back and forth right off. The only thing that jumped to my mind, which maybe they could answer, is if I look through the presentation package, it appears that I'm seeing two different things unless I'm not understanding the drawings. Is this in fact a two-building proposal?
Mr. Chair, through you, it is a two-building proposal because it is possible on a lot like this to have a backyard cottage. I assume that that's what you're referring to, that there's the front house and then there's a backyard cottage.
Okay,
yes.
I was silly me. I was inverting it, and I assumed that they're putting the backyard cottage in front.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes.
Yeah, it was wishful thinking, I guess. Okay. Well, it appears, and this is the result of your all meeting with them, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've had several meetings with the applicant and with their architect team. And this is the resulting proposal from them.
Okay. Well, have people on the commission had a chance to look at the drawings? And I assume that the MOA is basically embodying the drawing set as the scheme to go forward with.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, through you. It embodies that. It embodies the drawing set, plus the typical things that we tend to put on these MOAs, which is photographs, architectural drawings of the existing building, and provisos that if there are minor changes that need to be made from a design perspective, that staff approves them, but anything that we consider not to be minor in nature, we bring back to you all. And that if there are changes that need to be made in order to just ensure zoning compliance, then that is something that we would look at as well. What we have is we have ISD join these MOA meetings with us to make sure that the applicant is on the right track, because ISD is the final determiner for whether or not something is compliant with zoning. Whereas Wendy and I are well versed in it, we don't get to actually make that final determination. And so while ISD cannot tell an applicant 100%, yep, you're good to go, this is 100% zoning compliant until they have an application in front of them. We spend a lot of time working through any kinks to make sure that that this is as close as it can be at this stage. Because one of the things that we always tell our applicants is that under no circumstances will the HPC approve a design that is going to require any sort of zoning relief, right? And force them into something that would require a variance or something of that nature. So we want to make sure that all of those potential challenges are designed away as much as possible before bringing something to you.
Okay. Well, fellow commissioners, anybody have any thoughts on the proposal?
DJ, you're muted.
That's what I get for talking while I was looking at the PDF of the plans instead of the Zoom screen. I said, I have a quick question related more to the site plan or such as it is, which shows up on the first floor plan of things. Just curious what it is that's being represented in between the two buildings. There's a little area that seems to have some fencing and gates and a grid of dots. It looks like pavers. Are they separate individual patios for the units or something like that? Or
Are you talking about behind the principal structure?
behind the principal structure, there's a deck.
Yep.
Behind that, there's what looks like a planting bed. And then there's sort of a rectangular area before you get to the cottage house in the back.
Yes, parking and parking spaces.
Those are parking spaces.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
And is there no paving that accesses the parking spaces?
Meaning
Looks like there's sort of a 2-ribbon drive to get
Yep.
back there, and then it looks like it's grass between.
Yep.
So yes, they're grass access to the parking spaces.
Let me have, actually, if we could have Peter Quinn come on and speak to that, and he can give you the details on that. Let's see. Peter,
I have
can you-
promoted Peter Quinn to
Okay, great.
panelist.
thanks. Peter, you're muted.
There we go.
There you go.
Just caught on. Thanks. Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Quinn, architect. My office is in Davis Square, Somerville, 259 Elm Street. Thank you for hearing this tonight. Very simply, we are trying very hard in all of our projects now to really make this whole driveway and parking situation as pervious as possible.
Sure.
So what you're looking at is when you look at the floor at the site plan is a combination of grass pavers and a little bit of pervious
Okay.
pavers as well. And then the parking area itself is like a pea stone crushed and compacted, like a very traditional.
Okay.
Yeah, and we see this works, I mean, it does have to be renewed and, you gotta be careful,
Oh yeah.
how you put it, but it's, you're a landscape architect, so you
Yeah.
know, yeah, you
Yep.
know it.
When I lean way in, actually, I can see the difference in the hatch that differentiates the
Yeah, yeah.
grass pave from the. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. Had I noticed the grass pavers, there wouldn't even have been a question. Excellent. Yeah, I don't know if my fellow commissioners are familiar with that, but it gets used a lot in fire lanes and the like.
Yeah,
It's typically a series of, I assume you're using like the plastic ring type ones.
well, it really depends on cost of, you can either use the plastic rings or the concrete forms as well.
Okay.
I prefer the plastic rings, but they're a little trickier to get down and get flat, so, yeah.
They are, yeah. But the end result, the grass survives a whole lot better on them.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting,
So,
okay, good to know.
Yeah, because the concrete it'll absorb a lot of solar heat. Plus, the cells of grass are much more disconnected from each other than they
Yeah.
are with the plastic rings.
Oh, okay.
So you don't get a continuous lawn thatch above it as easily, and it browns out much more quickly.
Okay.
So yeah, but that sounds great. I mean, that makes sense to me as an approach, and I applaud your attempts to get permeability in there.
Yeah, it's pretty much become the standard now since the way you calculate lot coverage in Somerville is somewhat punitive to anything that's impervious. So
Yeah. As far as the architecture, my gut reaction is that it seems to do a fairly good job of capturing a lot of the feel of the original building in general, fairly well. I applaud the design team for coming to what feels like a good solution with the commission staff and the discussions. That's my take anyway.
Thanks, DJ. I note that you preserve the side gable exposure to the street, which is good.
it is a little unusual, but when you look at the street, there's a number of them. It's actually like you look at the street, you have every roof type you can imagine, but there are quite a few of these turned gables. We found interesting, and so we wanted to recreate it.
Yeah, that was something we thought, because they're more on this street, but as you know, and typically in Somerville, you don't see those very much at all because it's just not the way they did it.
Kind of
I do wish that.
sorry.
Oh, did I cut you off?
I was just going to say, I see that in a lot of the French Canadian architecture, and there are areas like, for instance, around in North Cambridge that have this whole thing with a kind of sometimes a 3-decker or maybe a 2 with a big front porch, and the stairs are actually in the porches. You go up through to your unit to get into your unit. You don't go in a stairway inside, but it's kind of very cool Quebecois design. You see them all over in cities in the north, but it's got this giant front porch, just set of stairs that go up to the 2nd level, and another stair that goes up to the 3rd level, all out on the street. And it kind of has that look, and then
Here in Somerville, I tend to associate it with houses that were built before a lot of the infill because they had a little more leeway. Like they weren't trying to nestle them in the tighter lots. And in fact, this was a pretty old building, as I recall, hence the hodgepodge of construction.
Yeah.
I do wish, and I understand this is just a demo delay and not a historic district, but I would love it if you found a way to have the 2nd or 3rd floor height lessened so that you didn't have quite so much wall above the window heads and the eaves. I'm guessing you did that for mechanical or something, the 11'8".
We were trying to marry up different floor heights, and so we needed to get some extra height in there to make it work.
Oh, and back where the back
Yeah.
connects.
Yeah.
I see.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll continue to look at that, but I think we'll end up pretty much there. We looked at it quite a bit.
Okay. But I don't know.
I didn't realize anybody would look at the drawings that closely, so thank you for seeing our struggle.
Oh, sure. Well, I saw it there and I was like, well, okay, I know that you need extra space for the modern ductwork, but 11'8".
Yeah.
But I see in back there where you're trying to, well, if you lowered it, okay. Well, I'm getting the weeds with it.
Yeah. Has to do with the attic too. Yeah.
How about we have 2 others. What do you all others in the commission think?
That was my sort of question. It was why it felt really top heavy, and that it just looks not well balanced. But understand that there's been some struggle there.
I would agree with everything that's been said. The side angle looks pretty decent, but front on it looks, the roof looks really large. But I understand that you're trying to fit stuff into the attic area. So And I do appreciate that you have tried to make the exterior look like the original.
The little cottage in back seems appropriately cute, so seems fine. It's got a walkout basement, it looks like.
Yes, it does. It's amazing how much you can pack into these little structures if you plan it all out properly, you know.
All right, well, so I think what I'm hearing so far, which I believe I've heard from everybody, is that generally good. Would love it if you could get the floor to floor height down, but I would, given where we are with this as a demo, alternate to demolition, it's acceptable to me, and I would say, I don't know if we could just inform staff that anything equal to or less than that in height would be acceptable for the MOA. I don't know if there's a way to allow that. So it doesn't have to be 11'8" if it comes in at 10'6" or something.
Mr. Chairman, through you, yes, if it came in lower than that, I think that's what we would probably consider one of those, excuse me, minor changes that
Okay.
we could be okay with and staff could sign off on.
We're good with that too. That's no problem.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could you say that again, Peter?
We're good with that too.
Yep.
No problem.
All right, well, anybody else have any thoughts?
Do we need a motion or?
Hold on. I think we're losing you, Robin.
Okay. I move that we vote to approve the memorandum.
Mr. Chairman, through you, Robin, could you turn off your video and see if that will help your bandwidth?
Your audio went glitchy for a bit on us
Yeah,
during your motion, unfortunately.
she's frozen.
Rosie.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, much better. Yep,
Could you just
Really?
repeat?
yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but I was trying to say, go on without me. But I move that we vote to approve the MOA.
I will second that motion.
Okay, a motion by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Shagnon. All in favor? Aye.
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 Do our roll call, starting with Ms. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Bauer is here. And you are muted.
I'm going to abstain on this. I was not in at the beginning of the conversation.
Okay, I figured. And then Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So there you have it.
All right.
Thank you
Right.
all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Sure.
And thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, through you, I'll work with Peter and his team on what the next steps are in getting the MOA recorded, signatures and all that type of thing.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
Thank you, everybody. Good
thank
evening.
you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye.
And I need to recuse myself on this next one, as I can see the property from my front door. So I will go bye-bye.
Okay, but we brought in a ringer, which is Mr. Bauer. Let me just pull up my, bear with me, I just closed the screen, I shouldn't have. Okay, next case is, it's a public hearing for HP 24-000032, address is 57 Columbus Avenue. The applicant is David Bell and Monique Cole. Owners are the same as the applicant. The scope is that the applicant seeks a certificate of appropriateness to alter the exterior of an LHD property through the removal of existing exterior features and the installation of new features. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. James Moses, you are being promoted to a panelist. And James, please let me know if you would like me to also promote David and Monique.
I would like that, thanks.
David Bell, you're being promoted to a panelist. Monique Cole, you are also being promoted to a panelist. All right, Mr. Chairman, that is the applicant team.
Okay, well, good evening, folks. Why don't you just give us a rundown? You've been here before. So let us know what's changed basically, or what we're looking at now.
I think there were 3 outstanding issues. One was the front stoop, which had been designed as a brick and granite stoop with a metal railing. And the feedback was to redesign it in wood with wood newels and balusters. And to use that language on the roof deck in the rear that's over the mudroom, the baluster and newel language. And then the third issue was the removal of the rear chimney. And we're proposing that we rebuild it.
Okay. That's what reminds me. Just a side question. I see you have some product literature on inspiration wood products. Is that, where are you proposing to use that, or did I just miss a note?
Let me call that up. It's been a while since I've looked at this. Bear with me.
It looks to be a coil.
Oh, this is Akoya. This is meant for the decking and trim.
Okay.
So it'd be either stained or painted on the situation?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right.
Akoya it's an acetylated wood, so it's a pine that goes through a process that makes it rot and insect resistant.
Yep.
I've heard of it. I've never actually used it. So
yeah.
It's basically wood though.
Yeah, it is wood. It's definitely wood.
I've had furniture with it spec'd out and it holds up pretty well so far.
Yep.
Site furniture.
Does it stain? It's not.
It
just out of curiosity.
It accepts stain and paint the way natural wood does.
It's a higher brow pressure treated product then.
Yeah, kind of. It's a non-toxic process.
Yeah.
No heavy metals involved. It's actually a vinegar that, or a vinegar-like.
It's got an interesting smell when it's fresh off the production line. You can still smell some of the vinegar on it.
Yeah.
That goes away quickly. Don't worry about your home smelling like vinegar.
Yeah. Okay, well, have you all seen the drawings? Do you have anybody want to volunteer any thoughts?
I mean, my quick 2 cents, remembering the original presentation, this is Yeah, I mean, I feel like this very much addresses the concerns we raised last time very gracefully, much as the rest of the project had done. I'm personally really satisfied with how this has come out after those discussions.
Thank you, DJ.
I'm sorry that I wasn't part of the initial discussions, but I did review the initial plan set and compared it to this set. And it does, I would agree that it looks great. I just wanted to confirm that the set that was sent out dated today, June 4th. On the front, it says that the brick / granite
Yeah,
is there, so it's just
that was an error.
an error. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry.
That can be cleaned up.
Yep. I noticed that 10 minutes before the meeting.
Our drawing is complete without a note like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I would concur. It looks, what you've done is looks good. I mean, as the Historic Commission, that's a very, to me, a very acceptable alternate there or option. The chimney, did you end up? I remember there was a question about whether you could fit it in with the space plan. Is that the case, or is it one of these pretend chimneys?
I think it'll be a pretend chimney.
Okay. And you'll use a brick.
We need to reclaim the space for a riser.
Okay.
On the interior.
How close do you think you will be able to come to having those two look similar in brickness?
Well, the plan, the plan from the builder is to actually take the existing brick off the current chimney, slice it, and then laminate it onto the chimney size facade, as it were. So basically, use the existing brick as the template to make the foul chimney.
Okay.
I mean, really, both chimneys need to be rebuilt. It's just that one will remain active and one will not. One will be faux.
Yeah, well, that obviously, if you truly do that, then that would look, for all intents and purposes, like the original, and
right.
It will actually look better than the original because it will actually be straight.
Well, shouldn't you actually angle them both a little bit to fit in with the new?
Well, you got to remember, of course, historically, when the building was first built, the chimneys were probably straight.
Yeah. It's not really within the purview of the aesthetic of it, but obviously anything they can do to make it so it doesn't delaminate and fall apart in 8 years would be good. If it might.
Yeah, that would be good.
Anyway, I'm gobbling up the time. Does anybody else, Vice Chair Kelly, do you have any thoughts? No, she's not here. How about Mr. Bauer?
No, I think I have nothing to add.
Okay. Well, that being the case, I would entertain a motion to vote on this.
I would move that the commission grant a certificate of appropriateness for the changes as proposed in the documents received.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shagnon, seconded by Ms. Price. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? And we'll do a roll call of Mr. Shagnon.
Yes.
Mr. Bauer?
Mr. Chairman, if I may interrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for catching this a little late. We have to take public comment.
Oh, right.
I can't believe I missed that. I'm sure other people can. Okay. Well, we haven't finished our roll call, so there's a chance to recant. Does any members of the public like to speak in this case? Please raise your hand and we'll unmute you.
Yes, any members of the public, please raise your hand for a 2-minute public comment period. Mr. Chairman, there are no raised hands. You may close the public comment.
Okay, we'll close the public comment. Sorry for that cliffhanger. Okay, when we left off, I'll just start the roll call again with Mr. Shagnon.
Yes.
Ms. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Bauer.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So there you have it, folks. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming back and
Thank you.
enjoy your good luck
Thank
with
you
the
all
project.
for your time.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes everything on our agenda for cases. And if we want Robin to come back, and Nick, you can go back with your evening. Thank you for jumping in on the fly like this. Oh, you're muted.
And she froze again.
Oh. Okay. Let me just Are you there, Robin? You're back to being chopped up again.
Mr. Chairman, through you, Vice Chair Kelly, if you can hear us, I recommend just turning off your video for the rest of the meeting, and you can still speak though.
All right, well, other business. We have commission elections. Exciting. And we'll be voting on chair, vice chair, and secretary. And do we actually have a current secretary? Remember that was an issue.
Mr. Chairman, through you, no, we do not currently have a secretary. The last time the vote came up last year, I believe the decision was made to wait till we had more members.
Okay. Well, now that we have someone who's very thankfully taking minutes for us, it's become a little bit less of a role for somebody. But I forgot what the process is for this. Would anybody like to run? Do we start off with from the secretary up or from the chair down?
Dick, you are muted.
From the chair down, and I'd like to start by nominating Eric for re-election as chair, if you'll do it, Eric.
I'll stick around. Yes. Thank you.
Excellent. I will second that if nominations need a second. But I don't know if they do. I don't remember the procedure here either.
I don't know. I'll take that as a kick to go forward with a vote on me. And I guess
Well,
all in
I
favor
believe
of
we
voting
have
for me?
Vice Chair Kelly back for the.
Hi, am I here? Can
Oh,
you?
yes.
You are.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, we're voting on commission elections.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I
Mhm.
also meant I have no idea what's going on with my internet, why
Oh.
it's getting wonky.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the wind or lack of it. But
Are there any other nominations for chair?
Did we renominate Eric?
We did.
I've nominated Eric.
Did someone second that? If not, I will. Okay, great.
All right.
Okay, all in favor of me for chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess I abstain, right? Modesty.
That's-
So we'll do a roll call.
It's up to you.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Bauer,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
and Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll abstain. Thank you all.
Congratulations. Thank you
Yeah.
for all that you've done and for what you're going to continue to do.
Yeah.
I hope to remember to take public comment before voting on things this upcoming year. That's been my goal. Now we have we need to fill the spot for vice chair. And
I nominate Robin Kelly.
yeah,
I'll second that.
Vice Chair Kelly, would you be willing to do what you're doing again this next year?
Yes, if there's not someone else who would like to have a turn.
Enjoy.
Okay, in that case, we'll take a vote on Vice Chair Kelly or Robin Kelly as Vice Chair of the Historic Commission. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
And we'll do our roll call starting with Mr. Bauer,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Now for the role of secretary, does anybody want to step into that? We don't actively have that right now, and as you can see, we haven't been suffering from that, but we should have a secretary. Do you want to kick that to the next till we get more members again, or someone wanted to take on that role?
What would that role entail?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Other than minutes, what does the secretary do?
Mr. Chairman, through you, as I run away from the sun. So they have a litany of duties as explained in the rules and regulations document, none of which functionally they do, mostly staff does them. So they would essentially be if the chair and vice chair were unable to be here, the secretary would be up next. In theory, they take minutes, that's no longer needed. In theory, they handle all the files for the HPC, but we do that. So it's more of an honorary title and also third in line.
That makes sense. So then that seems like it potentially would be good to have. I have a question also for staff, is that are the positions open to alternate members, or are those of us who are statutorily limited to being alternates precluded from holding any of those positions?
Don't know that actually.
We have historically had alternates as officers. Alan Bingham was actually vice chair for a number of years while he was an alternate.
See, there you
Okay.
go, DJ. You could be a
So
secretary.
there's at least precedent for it. I don't know I am willing to take on the figurehead duty of being secretary if the commission feels that it's warranted to have one. Can't hurt to have a third in command, I suppose.
Well, it feels like the thing to do to have a
Right.
secretary. If I were in your shoes, I'd be nervous that someone would quit and all of a sudden the minutes would be dumped back on your lap there. But
Yeah.
Not very likely.
Yeah, well, and also I think even before we had a city official minutes taker, it wasn't a commission member actually recording the minutes anyway, that I recall.
Oh, no, it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, through you, Mr. Shagnon, if it makes you feel any better, when all the other boards and commissions had a secretary, we still, before we had our minute taker, Kristen, we had our admin aide watch all of these videos and take minutes. So it probably most likely would not go back to you, and it would just go back to poor Dina.
Exactly. And worst case scenario, if it happens, I got myself into the mess and I simply wouldn't re-up after a year. So I would be willing to serve if nominated, I suppose.
okay,
I nominate Mr. Shagnon as secretary.
I'll second that. All in favor of voting for DJ Shagnon as the secretary of our commission? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And we'll do our roll call. Ms. Price,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Bauer,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. There we are official. Okay, those are our elections. There we're set for the year. The next item on our agenda is the minutes for April 16th and May 7th. And does anybody have any notes or comments on those? I didn't see any when I took a first glance.
Yeah, I did not notice any issues. Other than and I meant to look this up, whether sleazy can be two E's or if it needs to be, or if it needs to be EA. That was my only question.
Please.
I think typically it's EA, but
That's how I would have guessed.
Mr. Chairman, through you, I wasn't here at either of these meetings, so I don't know the context that word was used in, but I believe it's an EA. We can always make that edit.
I think it's
Merriam-Webster does list EE as a variant spelling of sleazy, SLEA.
go.
Yeah. So it's fine.
All right then. Yeah, I was not at the May 7th meeting, but I trust my fellow commissioners who seem to be saying that the minutes seem to have captured the essence of it pretty well.
So should I can make a motion to approve the minutes?
I will second that.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
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 Opposed? We'll do the roll call. Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes,
Mr. Bauer,
I abstain.
and I will vote yes. And we just encompassed both minutes, didn't we? February, the May
We did,
7th
yeah.
and the April. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get back my. Oops. Having desktop organizational issues tonight. Okay, there's the minutes. The CPC update, which is on me. This is sort of a slow time for the CPC right now. We have been sort of focusing on outreach and how to basically spread the word about what we do, alternate venues to reach people, stuff like that. We're not in the process of reviewing applications yet. It's kind of like administrative housekeeping stuff. So I don't really have anything new to report for what's going on. I think in general, we're looking at less money because the state is flush. So we have a little bit less, we're projecting possibly a little bit less to spend in the next year as far as what the state will match. But anybody have any questions about what's going on with the CPC?
Eric, I have one. This is now sort of old history in two different senses. And that's about the Adams Magoon House, where the CPC had offered some money to the Adams Magoon House, subject to some conditions and an interest in the property if it got sold. And I was curious about what ultimately happened.
That actually is still ongoing. It's been in, I asked about that a meeting or two ago, and Roberta said that it was still being flushed out between the lawyers or what, I don't remember. Officially, it was in the homeowner's hands. I think it was the homeowner who was kind of reviewing that still. So it's not finalized yet, and it hasn't fallen off the map either.
Okay, well, thank you for the update and for all the work that you've been doing on CPC.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. It's an interesting group of people. We did have discussions also, I guess I should have better notes in this, but just internal workings about whether the breakdown, the allocation should stay the way it is, and it's been decided we will keep it that way. So, the Historic Commission is sort of low on the totem pole for what we get. That obviously the most important concern, and this is sort of fleshed out with feedback we get from the community, is the 50% of the CPC money goes to affordable housing, which is given as a block to the SEC to kind of manage how that goes. The Historic Commission gets 20%, and 5% goes to administration, and then there's a 10% allocation that's sort of flexible that can be shifted among the categories, depends on who needs it most, and then the rest is open space, which I think is 25. Did I just break the law of math there? I think it's the way it breaks out. And that's the way it works. Unless there are any other questions on that, we don't have any other business. I had a question for staff. we can't really discuss this, but there is currently a proposal put forward by Summer Nova to rezone parts, the area, part of the place they own. But as part of that, they're proposing to change to create an overlay district that would encompass what's now the American Tube Works. And so this is sort of a question for staff as to how we get involved. That's a zoning decision. I don't know if that comes to us for any kind of comment, but potentially what would happen is we would see the properties that are in the American Tube Works, which is supposed to be part of a future historic district, would become upzoned. And obviously some of the stuff is to do with that as uses, which isn't really our purview, but do you know that, Lindy, do we get asked for feedback on that proposal?
They would likely only come to you beforehand for inquiry if it was designated. I can confer with Sarah White. My knowledge on this comes from Miami, but I do know that historic boards in Miami can give letters to other boards with, their recommendation or opinion in a formal way. So I could look at that before, and talk to Sarah White and let you know at the next meeting or just in an email, if that's an option.
Yeah, okay, because we've never actually been asked to approve or comment on any zoning change that in my life, so I guess I kind of know the answer to that. But I don't know if it's something we want to put on a future agenda, so we could talk about it, but and then Mr. Bauer, you have been to some recent meetings, but there's last meeting we put forward a discussion about advancing the Union Square Historic District and districting in general. And so there's some underlying questions about what the Union Square District is, because it was at 1.3 districts instead of 1. And also, I'm wondering if we should add under other business as a routine thing, historic district update, so that we don't have to be oblique about it, so we can actually discuss anything that comes up over time.
Mr. Chairman, if you would like to have that under other business, we can. And either Sarah White would come or she would give me an update to present to you.
What do you all think about that?
Seems reasonable, and not to put too much of a burden on Ms. White, I think if there isn't an update, she could just let Ms. Shekelitz know that, and that could be the extent of the report.
That might not even be she that has to do the update. It might be me or anybody who has news.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
But just a placeholder so we could talk about it. Because right now I'm just raising the subject is that is a situation and we ought to discuss it at a future meeting or internally with staff or something.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would request that it be once a month, just so that you wouldn't be getting as many no updates.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks is a little quick turnaround. It's very quick turnaround time for staff.
That's fine. Let's just put one on our next agenda, and it can be just a 1-sentence thing, but there's some other things that we might want to discuss as well that come up, because I understand this thing with the Summer Nova, for example, is moving fairly quickly, I believe. So let's put that on our next agenda, and then we can do it every 2 meetings or whatever we need to after that.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there's nothing else, we could adjourn the meeting.
I move that we vote to adjourn.
I will let Ms. Price go.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Ms. Price. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we'll do our roll call. Start with Mr. Bauer.
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Thank you all. It's a fairly short meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got through everything. That was good. Thanks again for joining us last minute, Vic. That was helpful.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you. Good night.
Good job.